Back to your real-time forecast. Rob, the rain gone for now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to stay away for tomorrow as well. We've been talking about a much nicer forecast for your Sunday. I know some of you enjoyed the rain today. Maybe the garden needed a little bit of extra rain, but I think you're going to get a really nice Sunday out of this, and we are setting the stage for that right now. Temperatures currently in the 70s for the most part. There's an 80 showing up for Evanston. We are trying to see the temperatures cool down, but unfortunately, it's still a little bit on the muggy side. And when the humidity is with us, the temperatures really aren't able to cool down quite as much. So 72 right now is one of the cooler numbers I see for Kankakee. There's a 74 LaPorte. But just off to the north and west, some cooler air has settled in for parts of maybe Minnesota and the northern plains, some 60 showing up there. And not only is this cooler air, but the real difference is going to be that it's drier air, and you can tell because there's not a lot of cloud cover. First of all, there's not a lot of moisture to work with, but you can also see it when you look at what we call the dew points. I would show you this every now and then. When the dew points are in the 70s, that is almost tropical air. You're talking about extremely humid air. But look back behind this. Some of these numbers into the 50s, that's going to feel a little bit crisper and cooler. It's not necessarily going to be extremely dry air, but it's definitely going to make it feel not quite as uncomfortable as it did during the afternoon today as the temperatures tried to warm up. So we'll take some of that and we'll move it in for tonight. Now, it is going to take some time for that drier air to settle in. It will start with winds switching around to the north. We are already seeing some of those showers from earlier in the day wrap up and move east. Temperatures going to drop into the upper 60s to low 70s, depending on where you are. I do think that we're going to be in that transitional time frame for tonight. So some of you may get a little bit cooler than that, especially if you're maybe into the western burbs or northwestern suburbs. Notice the winds tomorrow out of the north or northeast, and that will continue that supply of some cooler and drier air. It's also going to help the winds come right off of the lake. So the lakefront should stay just a little bit cooler. Lake temperatures are running into the mid 70s right now, and air temperatures are only going to be in the low 80s. So there's not that much of a difference, but every little bit helps in the summertime if you don't like the heat. And I think tomorrow is going to be one of those days where it will be cooler along the lakefront. We're also expecting a lot of sunshine, especially during the afternoon. But the big difference is that you're going to notice the humidity has come down. Again, I talked about the dew point. When you get it out of those 70s, which is where it was right now, remember it was 73, and you drop it back into the 60s, I think you're going to make it feel just a little bit more comfortable. Still going to be on the humid side, but not nearly as humid as it was today. High temperatures tomorrow should be in the low to mid 80s, very close to where we should be this time of year. The average high temperature is 82. We'll do 83 for tomorrow, but look at this, a string of 90-degree temperatures from Monday through Wednesday. And as we warm the air back up, that humidity is not too far away, so it's not going to take much for it to creep back in. And as it does so, with the temperatures warm and the humidity up, I think we're going to have to keep some storm chances in. Not necessarily expecting severe weather, but expecting that we have to watch the radar each and every day. Probably the best chance on Wednesday. We may take that chance down a bit for Thursday, but it pops right back up Friday into Saturday.